Okay, let's dive right in then. So you're scrolling through pictures, right? Dreaming of visiting these amazing places abroad.
Yeah, those markets, the ruins, incredible scenery.
Exactly. The wanderlust is real. But maybe the budget feels a bit tight.
That's often the sticking point, isn't it?
Yeah.
International travel, it sounds expensive.
It really can be. And figuring out how to actually save money, without just staying home, that can feel like a maze.
Totally. There's so much advice out there, it's hard to cut through the noise and find what really works.
Absolutely. And that's our job today, really. We're taking this one source, an article called 10 Ways Smart Travelers Save Money in Foreign Countries.
Okay?
And our mission for this deep dive is simple: unpack its advice. What are the core strategies this specific article highlights?
So we're filtering out the noise, focusing just on what this piece suggests.
Precisely. We want to turn this information into something practical, something you can actually use for your next trip overseas.
Right. Guiding you through what this article calls smart traveler behavior, focusing just on its points.
Okay, let's start where a lot of trips start thinking about money. Specifically, the cards you use. The article kicks off with a hidden cost.
Ah, yes, it flags those foreign transaction fees right away.
Hmm.
The extra percentage your bank might slap on. The article says around 2% to 4% every single time you use your card abroad.
Ouch. So, what's the takeaway from the source on this?
It's pretty clear. Find travel credit cards that specifically don't have these fees. It's crucial.
Makes sense.
Yeah, having one means every coffee, every ticket, you avoid that extra slice off the top. And the article suggests this adds up fast.
I bet it does.
Plus, it makes life easier, right? Less fussing with currency exchange if you can just tap your card for most things.
True. But the article does say compare options, look for the best benefits overall.
Exactly. Do a bit of homework before you go.
Okay, so sorting out the plastic first. Good tip. Now, moving from paying to staying, accommodation. Often the biggest budget killer.
For sure. And this source really champions uh, hostels and dorms if you're serious about saving. It contrasts them sharply with fancy hotels.
Right, it uses the phrase jaw-dropping cost difference, I think. And mentions they're good for solo travelers.
Yeah, definitely highlights the solo traveler angle. But what's interesting is it says you don't necessarily have to, totally rough it.
Oh,
It mentions doing some research can uncover hostels with decent amenities. It even throws out examples like live music or a pool.
so not just a bare bunk bed then.
Not necessarily. But it does add a caveat. Learn the dorm etiquette, the do's and don'ts. Be prepared for that shared space.
Okay, so potential for savings without giving up everything. Got it. Now, sticking with money, but cash this time. Currency exchange.
Yeah, the article makes it clear, even with the best travel card, you can't go totally cashless.
Right. Some places just won't take cards.
Exactly. So you need some local currency. The advice is to get a bit early on.
How early? Like at your bank before you leave.
That's one option mentioned. Or hitting an ATM or exchange counter right when you land at the airport. Get enough to get started.
Okay.
But here's the interesting part from this source. It stresses picking the right time to exchange the bulk of your money.
So timing matters for the bigger amount.
Seems so. The implication is you should, maybe keep an eye on the exchange rates online, try to get the most favorable rate for that main conversion, be strategic about it.
Right. Checking the rate online beforehand seems smart. Okay, so we've got cards, cash, a place to sleep. How about getting around point four in the article?
Transportation, yeah, the article points figures at cars and taxis as being potentially quite expensive.
Convenient but pricey.
Exactly. So it recommends actively looking for cheaper ways to travel locally. Think local buses, subways, whatever the cheapest means is for that specific place.
And it mentioned train tickets too, looking for discounts.
Yes, specifically discounted tickets for travelers if they're available.
Okay.
And it gives that really specific example for London, using the London travel card or an Oyster card,
Right, tapping in and out.
and getting discounts if you travel during off-peak hours. That kind of detail makes the advice really practical, I think.
Yeah, that London example really helps visualize it. Okay, moving on. Planning before you even leave. The article talks about researching travel deals.
It frames this as a major shortcut, actually. Saves time, money, and hassle compared to piecing everything together yourself.
So where does it say to look?
It names the big travel websites, TripAdvisor, Booking.com, the usual suspects.
Makes sense.
But it also adds social media into the mix, which is interesting.
How so?
It suggests following big travel brands Expedia, Marriott are the examples given because they might post exclusive deals or flash sales there. So deal hunting isn't just on the dedicated sites anymore.
Okay, good tip. Now, here's one that might feel a bit tricky depending on where you're from. Haggling.
Ah, yeah, the article brings this up specifically for certain countries. It lists India, China, Mexico as places where haggling is common and, well, useful for budget travelers.
And why is it useful there, according to the source?
Because local markets often have great stuff at low prices. But vendors might quote you a higher price initially, especially if you look like a tourist.
Right, the tourist price.
Yeah, exactly. But the article makes a cool point, is you can actually learn how to haggle online.
Oh, really? Like tutorials?
Yeah, find tips, strategies.
Yeah.
It presented as a skill you can pick up, not just something you either know or don't. Helps you aim for a fair price.
That's a much better way to think about it. Okay, shifting gears to packing. Traveling light.
This one connects directly to airline fees. The source basically says traveling light is your best defense against overweight bag charges or even just checked bag fees.
Which can be ridiculously expensive sometimes.
Totally. So the advice isn't just pack less, but learn how to pack efficiently. Smart packing techniques to fit more into your carry-on.
Right. Now, speaking of smart habits, this next one seems small, but the article highlights it. Carry a refillable water bottle.
Yeah, it points out how much you can actually spend, almost without noticing, on buying plastic water bottles all the time.
I can see that adding up. So the solution is?
Simple, according to the article. Carry your own reusable bottle. Refill it whenever you can. Hotels, malls, cafes, restaurants that are okay with it.
And it mentions other benefits too, right?
It does. Healthier than plastic, much better for the environment. It even says something like, you'll be amazed how many plastic bottles one reusable one replaces on a trip.
That's a powerful visual. It really drives it home.
It does. And sticking with being prepared, the last specific tip the article details before wrapping up is about snacks.
Ah, yes. The dreaded hanger pangs when you're sightseeing.
Exactly. The article paints that picture.
Yeah.
You're hungry now, so you grab the first expensive sandwich or whatever you see near the tourist spot.
Guilty as charged.
So the fix. Pack nutritional snacks. Have them with you.
What kind of snacks does it suggest?
It gives dried fruit and nuts as examples good for energy. Having those tides you over until you can find a more reasonably priced meal.
Smart. And it suggests hitting a grocery store early in the trip.
Yeah, stock up near the start so you're ready for those snack emergencies later on.
Okay, so when you pull all these points together, the right cards, the hostels, currency timing, transport choices, deal hunting, haggling where appropriate, packing light, the water bottle, the snacks.
That's quite a list.
It is, and the article sums these up as basically the things smart travelers do. It's presented as a collection of savvy behaviors.
It really shows that saving money isn't just about one big thing, like finding a cheap flight. It's about being mindful in lots of smaller ways, too.
Right, it requires that bit of prep work, doesn't it? And staying aware while you're actually traveling.
Absolutely. A kind of holistic approach to keeping the costs down.
So as we wrap up this look at this specific article's advice, here's something for you, the listener, to think about.
Yeah.
Based only on these 10 methods we've just discussed from the source, which one feels like something you could actually try, or maybe feels like it would make the biggest difference for you on your next foreign trip?
That's a good question. Just picking one or two.
Yeah, think about how implementing even just one strategy from this list might genuinely change how you travel and maybe help that budget stretch a little further.
Food for thought.
Definitely. And that concludes our deep dive into this particular source on smart budget travel abroad.